relation to Israel's military operations and attacks in Gaza from 7th October, we conclude that Israeli authorities are responsible for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and violations of international humanitarian and human rights law, including extermination, intentionally directing attacks against civilians and civilian objects, murder, or willful killing.
Crazy to think that the UN had put out that statement nearly 2 years ago. However, today we're learning that the International Criminal Court is filing additional arrest warrants against Israeli officials, both politicians and officials within the IDF. Although weirdly, the ICC has denied this. I don't know why. We'll get to the details in just a second, but real quick, just curious what you think about this, Bassem.
Well, first of all, they have already told us in many ways that the ICC and the ICJ is for the African dictators and Putin. It doesn't affect us. They are putting it in place as a juggernaut as a pressure point on the other people. And the second thing is, I think one of the judges, either the ICJ or the ICC, I can't remember, said he's sanctioned. He cannot even use a credit card because he is sanctioned. So America punishes those judges. As a matter of fact, when I announced my tour in Germany, I got a message from a German reporter. He said, I have been talking about Israeli crimes and I have been sanctioned by my own government, which means I cannot get a credit card, I cannot buy a ticket to your show, I cannot be gifted a ticket to the show, or else the people who give me the ticket will be in breaking the law.
That's crazy.
They cannot even, he cannot have a bank account, he cannot pay his bills.
Okay, so just to be clear, those who wish to prosecute literal war criminals who are indiscriminately slaughtering innocent civilians, those are the ones. Those are the people who have suffered greater consequences than the war criminals themselves. So real quick, just a few more details about what the ICC is allegedly doing, although again, the whole disagreement about whether or not this is happening is really strange. However, Bezalel Smotrich happens to be one of the politicians who has already come out and in a press conference said that he is expecting an arrest warrant from the ICC. There are other politicians, which we'll get to in just a second, but first I just want to show how Smotrich responded to this. Take a look.
The issuance of arrest warrants against the Prime Minister is a declaration of war. The issuance of arrest warrants against the Defense Minister and Finance Minister is a declaration of war. And in the face of a declaration of war, we will respond with war. The Palestinian Authority has started a war, and it will get a war. From today onward, every economic or other target within my power to harm, under my authority as Finance Minister and as a Minister in the Defense Ministry, will be targeted. Not talk and gimmicks, actions. I hereby announce the first target that will be struck. Immediately after finishing my remarks here, I will sign an order to evacuate Khan al-Ahmar on my authority as a Minister in the Defense Ministry. I promise all our enemies, this is only the beginning.
They are spitting in our faces.
Every day.
In our faces.
Every day. So the Times of Israel reported that the ICC is seeking an arrest warrant against Smotrich over his orders to demolish Palestinian villages and homes in the West Bank. Just to give you an idea, according to the B'Tselem Human Rights Organization, 59 Palestinian communities, home to more than 4,023 people in areas C and B of the West Bank, have been forcibly displaced as a result of settler violence since the war, which started on October 7th, 2023, genocide, I wouldn't say war. But nonetheless, the fact of the matter is Smotrich has been front and center in stealing land and homes from the Palestinians in the West Bank. And what he's threatening to do now is to demolish a Bedouin community in the West Bank in response to the ICC's arrest warrant.
Like, how dare you put like a warrant against me? All right, I'm gonna evacuate another village. What the hell?
I know.
This is so insulting. It's so insulting, man.
So when October 7th happened, they said, well, that was a physical violent attack. Obviously, we get to do the same, except they said we get to do 100 times more. That's not really a thing. 100 times more means you kill all the civilians and you're a genocidal freak, which is the entire Israeli cabinet. That's obvious. It's by definition, right? You murder 100 times the civilians of Hamas. If Hamas is a terrorist, you're 100 times the terrorist. But our media, who I loathe because they're the worst, most biased people on the entire planet, say no, only Muslims are terrorists. When a country with weapons of mass destruction, a nuclear weapon, Iron Dome, the best military in the Middle East, comes in and kills 100 times the civilians, the Palestinians' lives are irrelevant to us in American media. They don't count as human beings. So Smotrich is not a terrorist. In fact, when the International Criminal Court says that they should be arrested, these are people who have committed crimes against humanity, Benjamin Netanyahu, Yoav Galan, Bezalel Smotrich, our press goes, no, the whole world is anti-Semitic. No, these guys are innocent and wonderful. And the only reason why the ICC is saying anything is because the whole world is anti-Semites or against poor Jewish people who just happen to be, not Jewish people, but the Israelis, slaughtering all of their neighbors.
And stealing land.
So at a bare minimum, can you point out that the cabinet ministers in Israel are terrorist thugs who are absolutely ethnically cleansing not just Gaza, but the West Bank where there was no attack and no justification? No. Our media is a bunch of liars and cowards who say, no, Israel's right about everything, and all of you are anti-Semites, bow to Israel. And then you go, we're objective.
So the ICC is expected to issue warrants to Defense Minister Israel Katz, as I mentioned, Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, and IDF Southern Command Chief Major General Yaniv Azor. And I'm wondering if maybe the reason why the ICC wants to do this in a sealed fashion and is kind of publicly denying these arrest warrants is because of the retaliation they faced as a result of.
I just told you they get sanctioned.
It's crazy.
Can you imagine sanctioning a human being that he cannot pay the bills, cannot have a bank account, cannot use a credit card,
it's all
cannot
the US
even be
does.
gifted? It is crazy. So like we are used to the sanctions on a state level. But I didn't know that you can actually do that to human beings, to just individuals. Like the one of the judges, he's crying. He's like, I can't even get on a plane. I can't get on a train. I can get by a bus ticket. I don't know how these people live. I don't understand.
So this is like if America said during the Nuremberg trials, how dare you prosecute the Nazis? We're gonna take the prosecutors and we're gonna sanction them and make sure they never live comfortably again. These poor Nazis that you guys are trying to put on trial, all they did was murder all these Jews. That would be horrible, right? Now that is literally what our government is saying. All they did was murder these Muslims. And now you're gonna try to hold them accountable? That's it, we're gonna terrorize you. Well, then you're saying you're on the side of the fascists. And there's no question about that, and there's no complexity to it. And now look at what Smotrich is saying. When you did war on October 7th, in their definition, then we did 100 times the war. Now you're doing diplomacy, you're going through diplomatic routes, the United Nations, International Criminal Court. Well, I'm still gonna call it war. It doesn't matter what you do. You do war, you do peace, you say something.
I'm gonna do BDS, it's war.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna march in the streets, war.
Everything.
Post on Facebook, war.
War, yeah.
Israel's new slogan is war. I forgot the question.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. It's a great slogan.
I think for them when they're calling everything is anti-Semitic, it's like, you know what? It's actually we should actually do like a slogan. The truth is anti-Semitic.
I mean,
that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. You're just pointing out what is true. It's like it's still anti-Semitic.
I know.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.